It's the Fellowship of the Geek Show, a weekly podcast about comics, the comic book industry, and other geek pop culture. Music courtesy of Mandy the Martyr. And now, on with the show! Hey everybody, it's the Fellowship of the Geeks podcast. My name is Thomas Chick, and joining me for this episode is Mike Marlowe.
Hey gang.
And Les Webster.
Hello all.
How are you guys doing?
Doing alright?
Doing well, thanks. You?
Well, welcome back, Les.
Yay.
Oh, thanks.
Les is back.
Les is
Yay.
back. Hope everybody out there's doing well. So what's been going on in your corner of the galaxy?
Well, this weekend my gaming group and I continued our test run of the Deadlands RPG system. Yeah, it's a Weird West thing. It's kind of an alternate history if magic exploded at the beginning of the Civil War, sort of thing.
Okay.
And I would say admittedly, after 2 sessions and after 1 combat session, the general consensus among the group is it is an interesting setting, but the system is excessively complicated. It takes an inordinate amount of calculating. It's not as simple as you roll something to hit and then you roll something for damage. You're like rolling dice and drawing cards and multiplying and dividing numbers and then doing subsets of things, and it took us, I kid you not, it took us 2.5 hours to run a 3-round combat because there's just so much to deal with all at once. But again, like I said, the setting was kind of cool. It's the magic. There's actually multiple magic systems, so we were kind of playing with like 2 of them.
Okay.
And messing around with that. And the way they've set up their setting is they've done the cataclysmic event and then fast forwarded about 20 years or 20 or something like that, so that there's actually time for an alternate history to have developed a bit. So that's an interesting way of doing it. So it's not like you're starting out where things are going weird. Things have been weird for a long time, and the world is kind of different because of that. So that's kind of cool.
Got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Was slide rule involved too?
Not officially. I mean, technically, you can consider our friend Bill sort of a slide rule in and of himself.
Okay.
He was involved, and he was doing a lot of those calculations in his head. But yeah, no, it was more about stacking things than manipulating them a lot. I mean, there was, like I said, there was some dividing and multiplying going on, but other than that, it was like you're doing this type of damage here, and that results in this number, which you've got by dividing by something, and then there's this other set of numbers that you have to roll for, and then there's the cards which affect things as well, and yeah, so it wasn't necessarily the engineering sort of complicated, but I mean, it was close. It was certainly it seemed unnecessary.
You going through all that? I'm having flashbacks to Monty Python's The Meaning of Life of the announcement at school before the soccer game.
Yeah, it really did feel like that. Yeah. No, that's disturbingly enough, that's a great parallel. I wish I'd thought of that Saturday when we were playing, because that would have been hilarious.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you kind of had a good time.
Oh yeah, I mean it was interesting. We learned stuff, and it was fun in that regard. We learned we're probably not going to continue playing that game system, but that's okay. That's all. That's still learning.
All right. Anything else?
Nah.
Okay. How about you, Les?
First off, Mike, better you than me. I'd be friggin' lost. It's tough enough for me to get through rolling dice.
We were a little lost most of the time. Yes.
Okay. This is coming from the guy who was playing Risk on how many boards during college?
4.
Okay.
You had to conquer the all 4 boards. No one ever did. Got pretty close, but
Okay.
I don't think I could play it now. I don't think I recall enough of it to play.
I was never good at Risk because I always roll crappy on the dice.
Yeah, you have to rely on the dice a lot.
Yeah, I can handle the strategy part. Other strategy games I do fine at, but Risk I always sucked at because of the dice.
Yeah.
So how about you, Les? What's been going on with you?
Well, it was nice to take a break and want to thank you guys for supporting it, allowing me to do it, and then go ahead with the broadcast. Congratulations.
Yeah, no worries.
A couple things I did do, though, as far as comics go. I read a 5-issue series from Image, and I want to say it was in 2015, called One Hit Wonder, about a hitman who was once a television ad person as a kid. Is like one of those let's give it to Mikey type situations. It's by Fabrice Sapolsky, sorry, and it was pretty fascinating. Of course, I do like the crime novels. This was well done. The art was really good, and it's various artists that did the 5 issues. One problem I did have was they said that the main character will return in another series, and I'm going, no, you said that this was a series, and that should give you enough time to just say it's over, because I don't think I've seen anything for a sequel to this, a follow-up for this story. So I got a feeling it's just a standalone now. The other thing I picked up was the series by Marvel, Marvelman Family's Finest. And this was reprints of old Marvelman strips from the UK. They were done in the 50s, and it's a fine book. It gives you a lot of background. It tells you a lot of the various characters, and it proves that Captain Marvel was a basis for a lot of other families. And this had Marvel Man, young Marvel Man, and kid Marvel Man. So we really stretched to get this family established. But like I said, it's a pretty good read because it's a different view of what superheroes are. Of course, within the past 10 years, there was a Marvel Man reboot, and it was really good, but it was a little grittier than this stuff. This is more in the line like Captain Marvel by Beck with a cartoonish effect to it. But if you can find it, I don't know if it's been collected, but it's 6 issues and it's 4 to 6 stories per issue. Nothing is sequential. It's just a fun read.
Interesting.
Yep.
For one thing, it's interesting that there's no Marvel. There's this Marvel Man family, but there's no Marvel women anywhere.
Not that I've come across yet.
Alrighty then.
Must be a lot of test tubes involved or something. I don't know.
Yes.
I've picked up where I left off last week by checking out another. I don't really want to say it's a horror film. It's one of those that's kind of on the edge, I guess.
It's on the thriller spectrum.
Yeah, thriller. Well, there's some horror aspects to it. I came across it by accident, and it's called Last Girl Standing. And the premise is about this young woman who, at the beginning of the film, she's the last survivor of one of these kind of Jason, Michael Myers, that kind of thing, attacking and killing her friends. And basically, the movie is about her trying to move on with her life and develop new friends and all that. Because we kind of flash forward about I think it's just a year later, and she runs into a guy who's is a new employee where she works, and they kind of develop a little bit of a interest in each other, and he tries to introduce him to some of his friends and all that kind of stuff. But she starts seeing things and thinking that maybe the killer is actually following, is not dead like she thought. So you're kind of on the edge on whether or not is she hallucinating, or is the killer still alive. Unfortunately, the ending was kind of predictable. There were some really dead spots in the film, but it was kind of an interesting idea. It's one of those that don't really get addressed in some of these movies, and for obvious reasons, because they focus on obviously the hunt and the chase and the kills and that kind of stuff. So it was kind of an interesting idea. I don't think it was executed as well as it could have been, but maybe that was just me.
Yeah, you started describing it, and I started thinking Scream 2? But it sounds like it's different from that, really.
Oh yeah, it's different from that. Scream. Yeah, I hadn't thought about Scream, but yeah, and it kind of.
I mean, it sounds like it wasn't as good as Scream 2, but it also sounds like it was a different kind of movie too.
It was a different kind of. Yeah, it was a different kind of story. No, I like Scream 2. Scream 3 was okay. It's when you get into Scream 4, you're going, okay, why?
Scream 4, the apology.
No, that was what the TV series was for. We're sorry. We're sorry. We're sorry. We're sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but everybody's got to like Dewey.
Do they? Do they really?
Yes. Yes, they do.
The thing about Dewey, I did like Dewey, but it kind of came a running joke to where they always made it look like they killed him off, which of course they never did. It's like, okay, how many times do you want to keep doing this? Spoiler for a series of films that have been out for a while, but I mean, it was. I thought it was an interesting series, and it's kind of funny how you obviously see the influence of Halloween in the first Scream, and then you watch Halloween, and I'm sorry, Les, I'm going to say it this way, H2O, and you definitely see a Scream influence on that film.
Oh yeah.
I know. I know why Les doesn't like me saying H2O when it's actually H20, but anyway. Which I wouldn't mind seeing that one again. It's been a while. I catch one of these networks always plays the zombie versions, and I don't want to get into that anymore. We kind of covered it a couple times, but alrighty. Before we get into this week's topic. Take a couple moments to thank our sponsors. First off, I'd like to thank Peter Smetty of Alterna Comics and also of Make Mine Indie, the digital catalog of that covers print, digital, and web comics of some independent publishers that you may not be aware of. And I'll take a couple of moments right here to congratulate Mr. Smitty on getting the distribution deal for newsstands. That just came down here real recently. So Alterna Comics will be on newsstands now.
Yep.
So awesome.
Very cool.
Yep. The summer catalog for Make Mine Indie is available now. It's 147 pages, filled with previews, reviews, interviews, and a lot of good stuff. As I said, of publishers you may not be aware of. Mikey and I have reviewed some of the books in the past. I know there's a few that we would love to get our hands on. You should try to get your hands on them. And here's how you do this. You go to our website, www.thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. Click on our sponsors tab. Right at the top of the page, you'll see information for Make Mine Indie. There's a link there. Click on that link and you'll be able to download a free copy of the catalog, either as a PDF or a CBZ file, and check it out. Like I said, you'll be able to see some previews and get a little synopsis of the books and ways you can be able to get your hands on these books. So go check it out now, or after you listen to the podcast, go check them out. Secondly, I'd like to thank the fine folks at Things from Another World for sponsoring the fellowship. Currently, there's only their evergreen deals going on, and those are 40% off comics, statues, toys, and merchandise. 30% off select pre-order manga titles, and 50% off Nick and Dent comics and graphic novels. So while you're on our sponsors page, if you just scroll down a little bit, you'll see information for Things from Another World. Click on one of those images there, and that'll take you to the website. Let them know that we sent you their way, and take advantage of some of these deals. And we thank everybody for their support. Alrighty. For this week, what we decided we wanted to do was kind of go over some of what we think were the highlights, or what got us kind of excited the most about some of the news items that came down from San Diego Comic-Con, which just happened here just within the last week. So that's the plan. Who would like to go first?
I can go first.
Alrighty, Mikey.
I'll go first. So apparently one of the things that happened at San Diego was that they had sort of kind of a premiere for the second episode of Amazon Prime's The Tick series.
Woohoo!
Yeah. I have not actually seen it, but because I wasn't, unfortunately, at San Diego Comic-Con, because, damn, that's craziness. I wouldn't go there. I won't say I wouldn't go there if you paid me, but I certainly probably wouldn't go there if you didn't. But, so yeah, this is something I've been looking forward to since that whole Zero episode they sort of released last year. And so they're going to be dropping 6 episodes on August 25th on Amazon Prime. If you've got Amazon Prime, you're going to be able to watch them and watch them and watch them. And I'm looking forward to this because I really liked that Zero episode, that pilot. It was everything. It was everything I like about the Tick in a much darker package than we're used to seeing on TV. I mean, I don't think it's that much darker than the comics, but the TV stuff was definitely aimed at a lighter form of entertainment than this. This new series is much grittier and much darker, and it looks really cool.
Has it really been a year?
I think so. I want to say it was last fall anyway. It's been close to a year.
Wow.
I don't remember the exact date, but I'm pretty sure it was last fall.
That sounds about right. I just hadn't thought about it being. Wow.
I'm with you, Mike. Seeing that episode made me think I want to see more now. Don't tell me it's going to be coming. Just put it out there now.
Yep. Well, and here in about a month they will. They had to tease it a little bit. I mean, you got to give them. I mean, for marketing purposes, they had to tease it some. That they could manage to do that at San Diego is, bully for them. I mean, it's Amazon. They're one of the biggest companies in the history of ever. But yeah, they teased it, and I'm ready.
Yeah, that's pretty cool because obviously that was a surprise, and
yeah, because there just hadn't been any word about it for months. I mean, just nothing.
That's the kind of things I like because things can get spoiled so quickly, especially in the age of internet. But bravo, they were able to do that.
Yeah, they kept it quiet, and then they drop a little sneak peek a month before release. That sounds like they're trying to do it right, so it'll be fun.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty, Les.
What I remember is the cast of the new Kingsman movie being on Conan O'Brien's show. And just seeing the clips, not only there, but online and at theaters, things like that, I was pretty taken. I said, this is going to be a good sequel. I thought The Kingsman was a terrific movie based on a comic book, faithfully at that. And this one, I think, is going to do justice to the characters also. Because you do have some of the actors, some of the characters from the first movie appearing in this one too. So having the bent of Kingsman being in America, I think is pretty fascinating. Try to expand it to not only Great Britain, but it's more like Warehouse 13 was, and you had locations for the organization in several spots throughout the world. That's where I get the feeling for this movie, and I'm pretty excited about it. I want to see this again. I want to see this now.
When's it coming out?
Offhand, I don't know.
September.
Okay. So you don't have to wait too long.
Yeah, because that's right around the time that the new series starts, and it's actually being published by Image now.
Oh. Who had it before?
And Dark Horse.
Ah.
And actually, Image is putting out a new printing of the original stuff as a collection.
Cool.
The original story arc. So.
That's good.
Yep. I think that was a smart thing to do. So. I think one of the things I'm excited about is some of the news of some of the projects that are actually becoming or being adapted for either movie or TV shows. Mikey addressed one in our prior episode about Spencer Locke becoming a movie, and just a couple of days into it, they also mentioned that Princeless, which is also another Action Lab property, is going to get a movie, and I think that could be kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
The one that really surprised me is the Umbrella Academy from Dark Horse. That's Gerard Way's book, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that's getting a TV series.
Cool.
So I'm kind of excited. These are a little different. These are a little different tales. You know, and they're obviously not the cape and cowl that most associate from comics to TV to a live action treatment. So like I said, I'm excited. I don't know what else I can say.
Yep. Sounds like, yeah. I'm really looking forward to the Spencer and Locke thing, and
I'm definitely.
I like the idea of Princeless. There's a neat idea in there.
Yep.
And I think it'll be fun to see that, and it's of course high fantasy, so it'll be that for me. That's kind of where I'm at usually. So
Right. Okay. What else kind of caught your attention?
um, my next one was DC is doing a handful of animated features next year. And I have to say, the one that caught my eye is Gotham by Gaslight.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I want to see this puppy. I read this back when it came out. I remember reading it, and I really liked it then, and I'm really looking forward to seeing that on any kind of screen. To see that animated, just oh man.
Yeah, I remember talking to Les about that when the news came down. I said they got to do it in the Mike Mignola art style. They can't change it. It's got to be in that style.
I hope not. That would be a big mistake. They got to keep it as true to that as they can.
If I'm not mistaken, that's their first. It was the first ever Elseworlds tale. Am I right in that, Les?
Yes, I believe it is.
That's what I'm reading right here on this article that I've got up. An adaptation of the first Elseworlds graphic novel.
And for those who have not read it, you need to get your hands on it as soon as possible. The story is obviously, you can tell by the title that it is a Batman tale, but it takes place in the 1700s,
It's Victorian. So
well, it's Victorian. Okay, Victorian
late
time.
18.
Okay, 18.
Late 1800s. But yeah, because I mean, at the risk of spoiling a graphic novel from 30 years ago, I mean, it's related to Jack the Ripper.
Right.
So that's like 1880s.
Yeah, I was getting my centuries mixed up. So yeah, it's a great story. In addition to that, they're doing a. I'm sure you saw this as well. I don't know if Les did, but they're doing a 2-part Superman story. They're doing the death of Superman and then the reign of Superman. And I know the response to that was kind of negative because they've already kind of done Doomsday, which is essentially that story, but this is supposed to be more faithful to the original story, which was written by Dan Jurgens and a handful of others. Obviously, this is was where Doomsday killed him off, and then we got in the Superboy and Steel and Eradicator and Cyborg Superman and all that. So, it might be interesting. I remember had a conversation with someone on Twitter and they were commenting on the fact that can we have something other than a Batman or Superman animated movie? First thing I thought of is like, well, we just had a Teen Titans animated movie, just not too not too long ago.
Yeah, there you go.
And I mean, I didn't point that out, but my comment to him was, well, let's see what happens based off what happened this summer. And then I did hashtag Wonder Woman.
Right.
Um,
Well, and on top of that, the other of the features that they're talking about is a Suicide Squad
okay.
one.
They've already done one Suicide Squad animated movie, but
yeah, they're gonna do another one.
yeah, and he had a point. I mean, they do focus on Batman and Superman, but they sell, so
Right, that's the deal. They're the flagships.
If the others sell as well too, then you'll see more of those.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the Gotham by Gaslight will be delicious.
Mm-hmm. I'm ready for that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Les.
If I recall, they had stories of some of the comic releases, and one of them, of course, I was and am ready for is Adam Strange. To get him back into his own book. I don't know. Please tell me if it was a limited series or if it was ongoing. But I would like to see them go back to the basic of Adam being the Earth archaeologist being transported. I doubt that they will, because they've already established him as on the planet Ran for long periods of time instead of just the short bursts for a story. But once again, this is one of my favorite characters, and I'd like to see them really open up for it.
I missed that one. But I wouldn't be surprised because in the new show that's going to be on the Sci-Fi Network, Krypton. And for those who are not familiar with what the basis of the story is, it's supposed to be obviously it's set well before the planet exploded, but this is supposed to be right.
Sorry.
It came me afterwards.
Sorry.
It came me afterwards.
I don't know. It's just some sort of asteroid field. I don't know. Just
there you go.
fly into it. Oh wait, that's no moon.
Yeah, that's right. I believe it's supposed to be during the time of Kal-El's grandfather or Jor-El's father. But so the announcement that came down during San Diego is there's supposed to be a group of villains from present day time traveling back, and I know Mikey just loves that idea to travel back in time to prevent Superman from coming to be. And Adam Strange is going to be involved in the show as actually learning about this plot, going back in time and trying to stop them. So I can see them trying to capitalize on him being on the show by having his own book. But it would be great if he had his own book. But I missed that. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because going back in time to stop people from being born always works so well.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that what Timeless was? The show Timeless?
Yeah, I think so. I didn't really watch it, strangely enough.
Yeah, it was let's stop the bad guy before he becomes bad.
Okay. So that would be cool. It would be nice to see him again. It kind of reinforces them kind of going old school by with this new line called Dark Matter. We're getting a new Challengers of the Unknown series, so it would be a nice little, So they're going back reaching back into the past and making nods and that kind of stuff. So that's kind of cool. And speaking of dark matter, since I just brought it up and it's my turn, one of the titles that was announced that's going to be part of this line is called The Terrifics. It is a quartet, a superhero quartet, led by Mr. Terrific, that also has Phantom Girl. We're not sure. We're not sure if it's the classic Legion of the Superheroes Phantom Girl, or it just happens to be someone that looks just like her and just happens to have the same code name, but it's present day. We'll find out when we read the book.
It's just a girl who happens to be a phantom.
Mm-hmm. They can turn invisible, yeah. Metamorpho and Plastic Man. And yes, gang, can you picture that? You've got the smart guy, you've got the elastic guy, you've got the muscles with the deformed face, and then and a girl who can turn invisible. This is basically DC's Fantastic Four. So,
hey, Marvel ain't doing it right now, so why the hell not, right?
That's right. That's right.
Might as well.
I love the idea. I like the team. I think it's it's an interesting lineup. And Jeff Lemire is going to be writing the book with art by Ivan Reyes. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be a great book. Yeah,
like
one of the responses I saw was, well, Marvel wouldn't let Jeff write Fantastic Four, so he went to DC to do it.
They're not wrong.
They're not. No. They're not wrong at all. So
they got my vote for it.
Yeah,
I'm curious.
I think it could be a blast. Of course, Mikey and I love Jeff's writing, so.
Mm-hmm.
And not only is he writing that, he's writing the Hawkman's one shot that's part of the new this Dark Knight's Metal event book, but they're also kind of hinting that Hawkman may get it ongoing with Jeff writing that one as well. So they've got plans for him, and apparently he's interested. So
cool.
Good.
Yeah, keep him busy.
Well, as long as he's writing for Valiant too, we don't want him off those books as well.
Oh, he's still writing Descender too.
Yeah, that's true. He's doing that too.
He's all over the place.
Yeah, I forgot about Descender. Yeah. Okay, Mikey.
Well, while we're talking about comics,
mm-hmm.
and since we mentioned DC, let's flip the page and see what Marvel's up to. The one that has caught my eye is a Star Wars related miniseries about Thrawn.
Oh yeah.
And not only is it about Thrawn and based on stuff that Timothy Zahn wrote, worked on.
I think his latest book, if I'm not mistaken.
That's the impression. That's the impression I've gotten.
Yeah.
This series is also slated to be written by Jody Houser.
Right.
So yeah, I'm in.
Yeah.
I've always liked Thrawn anyway, and that's not really even paying that much attention to some of the recent. Well, I've tried to sort of keep an eye on the comics.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't paid that much attention to the novels that they've been working on. There have been a bunch of them already. But this one, yeah, I'm curious.
Yeah, Jody's rising up there in our favorite writers category.
Yep.
With the Faith books and then Mother Panic, and now she's going to be doing this. So yeah, this one could be very, very interesting.
That's big dedication to go that many titles and such. So.
Yep, it's a lot of work.
Yep. Alrighty, Les.
I guess I just want to say I'm happy with what's been shown at the convention. The idea of so many things can be expanded upon, both series and television, movie, just whatever. It can attract a lot of attention, and I'm happy to see that. This, to me, takes comics out of that stigma of literature that's not literature. So with all the movies that of which they speak and the ideas that they're coming up with to both convert comics into film or even comics from films, I think it's a great touch. I see no problem with it. I think it's a spectacular idea. I want to see it. I want to see more of it.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm glad that I mean, there's been a lot of movie stuff, and there's been a lot of TV stuff, but I'm glad to see that there is just as much comic stuff coming out that came out of San Diego this year. Because I mean, we had talked about an article not long ago that we kind of passed around that was kind of complaining about how comics is starting to get the short end of the stick in terms of San Diego San Diego Comic Con. But I think this year the comics kind of got vindicated a little bit in that regard because there was plenty of news coming out for comics and it's getting plenty of attention this time around. It doesn't feel like you're getting short shrifted as much.
Right.
True.
Yeah, I agree. This one kind of surprised me, especially how quickly how all this came down. The speed of this came down kind of floored me. I don't know about you guys or anybody out there, or you out there in the audience. Sonic the Hedgehog and Mega Man, who were obviously owned by Sega. There's been comics that were been done by Archie for years, but that came to an end in January when Archie just stopped publishing comics for them. And I would see it every once in a while on the internet, and people come in and ask, what's going on? Why aren't there anything going on? And honestly, we hadn't heard anything. And the Thursday of Comic-Con, there was a tweet from Sega saying that they were no longer. They essentially cut ties with Archie. That Archie Comics were not going to do Sega books anymore. And literally 24 hours later, there was an announcement that they had signed on with IDW, and then starting in 2018, there will be new Sonic comics. And of course, while all this is going on, they announced there's going to be a live-action Mega Man movie, which got me. When I first heard that, I'm like, that there's no comics for the book. And then obviously all this came down, like, okay, all right, yeah, this kind of makes sense now.
There is a plan. All right.
There is a plan. We just don't know what's going on, but now we do.
Now we're
the Sega properties are moving to IDW starting in 2018. I've never really read the Sonic or the Mega Man comics. I'm happy for fans of those characters and fans of who are fans of the comics, because they get a chance to read them again. So
Well, and hopefully the Mega Man fans are going to be getting a really big treat.
Yeah, by having the movie, yeah. Hopefully, hopefully they do a good job. I don't know.
Hopefully they're getting a treat, right?
Hopefully.
We're going to be optimistic about that.
Yep. Alrighty, Mikey.
All right. Well, speaking of larger-than-life characters getting their own movie, apparently the creator of the Legion TV series has begun work on a Doctor Doom movie.
Saw that.
There's like absolutely no detail yet so far, but you know, most superhero villain or most comic book villains, for most comic book villains, it would be difficult to pull off a solo movie. If I had to pick one, though, I think Doctor Doom would be the one. I think he can pull it off. He's an interesting enough character on his own that I think he can pull off being, I hesitate to use the word protagonist here, but because very rarely is he ever actually the good guy. But if you're going to tell a story about one of the quote-unquote villains, Victor Von Doom is one you can do it with. I mean, it's not unlike telling a Dracula story, where Dracula's
right.
From Dracula's point of view. I mean, it's kind of, I mean, I'm not comparing Dracula and Doctor Doom, but it's kind of this, he's kind of the same depth of character sort of thing. I mean, a lot of people know him well. I mean, even if he is the bad guy most of the time, and there are fans, you know, because there always are. And like I said, he's fleshed out enough as a character that I think it could be interesting. I think it could be fun.
Yeah. I'm trying to go back and look. Because we did an episode of characters we like to see have their own book. And one of my choices was Doctor Doom. And I feel for the same reasons it would make a great movie. You don't have to have the superheroes. Just focus on him. If you know his story and you know everything about him, you could see why.
There's plenty to work with.
There's plenty to work with. I'll locate it and we'll put it in the show notes of which episode that I make that comment, so you can go back and listen to that episode and see. But yeah, I call Doom as his own book, and yeah, he's got the Iron Man book right now, which is the infamous Iron Man, something like that. But
there you
go. Doom is interesting enough. He doesn't have to be a knockoff of another character.
He doesn't have to piggyback on the heroes. Not at all.
Nope. So, yes, I did see that, and that is very, very interesting. I definitely would like to check that out. I have not watched Legion, so I have no idea whether or not...
I've heard good things about it. I heard that it kind of started off slow, but got really good later on. And so,
okay.
I mean, and all of that's in one season, as far as I know, and I believe
right.
It was a short one. So, yeah, I mean, apparently it was a slow burn a bit, but from what I heard, it got good.
Okay, it was episode 15. I got it right here. So, episode 15.
Oh, damn, that was a while back.
That was a while back. That's why it took me a while to find it.
All right, Noah Hawley, if you were listening to our episode 15 and got that idea from us, we need for you to come on the show and tell us about that.
Definitely.
Now, my question is, are they going to present it like the poor representation in the Fantastic Four movies? Or are they actually going to go out and do something strong with it? Are they going to have to tell the story again as to how he came to be, or what?
Well, in my opinion, they have not done that. They, in both cases, in both origins, they've always tied his origin and how he became the villain, the bad guy. They've always tied it into the origin of the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Which is not how that worked originally, is it?
That's not how it worked in the comics, and that's fine. But I don't mind change a little bit, but it doesn't have. You don't really have to do that, especially if all they're doing, especially if they're just staying away from the Fantastic Four in general right now, since they really butchered it with that film.
Right, just do him solo.
Just do him solo. You know, as we've said, I think we've said it several times on previous episodes. You don't have to show the origin if you feel that it needs to be mentioned. Exposition works real well.
Yep.
Exposition like what they did with the Incredible Hulk. The origin was shown on the opening credits. As you're seeing the credits, you're seeing the origin.
Mm-hmm.
And there you go. And then you move on. Now we move on.
Yep. There are ways around it.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm intrigued by that. Intrigued and surprised.
And a little vindicated, it sounds like.
Well, I don't know about that, but worst case scenario with this film, that just restarts the 7-year clock for Fox.
Right.
Because supposedly they have to do, if they don't do a film with using those characters in 7 years, it's supposed to revert back to Marvel. In theory, supposedly that's the way it is, and that's how Marvel got Daredevil, the rights to Daredevil and Punisher and Ghost Rider and some of those others. That's how they got them back. It's because they based I think it was New Line that was doing like Blade and Ghost Rider and that kind of stuff. They just let it lapse. And same thing with Daredevil. I don't remember who had that. But Sony keeps cranking out Spider-Man films, and obviously the new one's done all right. So they're keeping and they're planning other Spider Universe characters films too. So of course you have the X-Men. So.
Of course.
Mm-hmm. Les, what else caught your attention from San Diego?
Tell you the truth, I really don't have much more. Okay. I was getting the feeds mainly from you, and nothing really jumped out and said, this is phenomenal. So I know it was a success. The con is always a success, and I'm happy to see that.
Okay.
And I'm sure I've missed some stuff. I'm sure I'll be amazed when it comes forward and you can say, you dumbass, I told you about that 3 months ago.
You mean I don't already do that?
No, you're kind to me. You don't normally call me dumbass, but
apparently he's allowing you to do so. So you should remember that.
Okay.
Yes, step up, young man.
No. I mean, there's other people I call dumbasses, but I've never called Les a dumbass to his face or behind his back. So.
And I appreciate that.
All right. My next one, I'm going to start off with a quote. I very much want to do what I very much want to do is a project where Superman is very much a hero. I'm talking to DC about it and hope to have something announced, but I want to do my original Superman where he'd be the hero all the way through. This quote came from Frank Miller.
Whoa.
Frank Miller is going to do a year one book with John Romita Jr. doing the art.
Dang.
Okay.
I know the response has not been kind because of how people think of how he handled Batman and how he handled Superman in the other books. Obviously, this is going to be a different approach. I'm curious. Obviously, I'm going to wait till I hear more about it and hear what the story is about and that kind of thing. But it's definitely interesting. It caught my attention.
Hmm. I'm not
I
a
can see that.
I'm not a huge Superman fan, but I mean, hell, it's Frank Miller. You got to at least give him the benefit of the doubt for a while.
Hmm. Yep.
His latest is really good. The Dark Knight. He did not do
Hmm.
the art, but he did do the story, and I thought it was really effective.
As long as he doesn't say I'm the goddamn Superman.
Yeah, there is that.
Oh, the Boy Scout? No, I don't think that's coming out of his mouth
Yeah, probably not.
because it sounds like I mean, just from that statement, it sounds like he's going full on Boy Scout.
Yeah, which is cool.
Yeah, be interesting to see it done well, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, was there anything else that caught everybody's attention? I know the Justice League was very exciting to see. I kind of wish saw something for Infinity War, and some of the news items for the Captain Marvel film was kind of interesting. But anything else caught anybody's attention?
Um, there's one other little thing that I wanted to at least throw out about being curious about. Um, Fox has got a show that they actually did some plugging before Comic Con, but they did some stuff at Comic Con with it as well, and it is called The Orville. And it is now I have to say, for my money, Seth MacFarlane is hit or miss.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the stuff he does is really good, and some of it is really terrible. Um, but this one strikes close enough to home for me that I'm curious. I want to see how he does it, because the Orville is essentially, I mean, call it what you want, but it's basically a spoof of Star Trek. And if that's done well, it could be really funny. And so I'm ready to give him the benefit of the doubt to an extent because he's got some talent around him and he can pull off a series. Whether he can do so as an actor, we'll see. I mean, he certainly does the voice work. No doubt. I will not begrudge him voice actor status at any time. Um, to see him pull this off in the captain's chair will be interesting. And it's a spoof of Star Trek. I think has been a long time coming. So at least an organized, effective one. So I'm hoping.
Yeah, I saw something. I may have missed whatever was at San Diego, but I saw a teaser before for this show, and yeah, I'm kind of cautiously optimistic. I kind of feel the same way you do about Seth MacFarlane. This looks like it's funny. Looks like it might be a funny show, but I look at it, I'm going, this is Galaxy Quest.
Eh, that's kind of my concern because yeah, I mean that's my worry is that if it turns into Galaxy Quest, then it's not going to work. But if it can stand alone and be funny on its own, great, good for him.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. I'll watch it if that's the case, or one way or another, somehow or other, I'll watch it. Um, I am curious enough about the premise to give it a shot. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of in on that too.
yeah, I really hope it works because it's because if it doesn't, it's going to be friggin' terrible. But whatever, it won't be the first friggin' terrible attempt at something like this either.
Right.
We'll see.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm being cautiously optimistic.
Yep. Ditto.
Ditto? Ditto, you provincial putz. Wow, we got Monty Python and Blazing Saddles reference in this week. Yay. Awesome us.
Yeah, that's got to be a milestone of some sort.
Yeah.
Of some sort.
Should we really take a bow for it?
Like I said, of some sort.
Oh, boy. Anyway. Well, a lot of good stuff came down from San Diego. A lot to be excited about. Obviously, the movies and television shows get the higher profile, but there's a lot of good stuff that sounds like it's coming down the pike for us comic readers. So there's a lot to look forward to. Hope everybody out there like what they heard coming from Hall H and some of the other halls from the panels and stuff. And that's going to be our question of the week. What did you hear from the con that you're most excited about?
There you go.
So any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
I'm good.
Just going to say again, I think it was successful.
Alrighty, on that note, we take a quick break and come back with our weekly picks. And we're back. It is time for our weekly picks, and I happen to lead off this time. And for my first choice, I'm going to Dynamite Entertainment, and it's issue 2 of Green Hornet 66 Meets the Spirit, written by Fred Van Lente, with art by Bob Q. Really enjoyed the first issue. Was very much in the spirit of the classic TV show.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. Yes, it was a fun book. I'm excited to see where things go from here. Because honestly, I don't have a clue, and you know what? That's fine. I don't. It's better if I don't have a clue of how the story's going to go, because I don't really want to know until it actually happens. If I figure it out, then there's a problem.
Right. You don't want it to be too easy.
Yeah.
That's no fun.
No, it's not. Alrighty, Mikey.
All right. My first pick is an Image title. It is Hadrian's Wall. This is the 8th and final issue of this series. And it is... I'm not going to go into too much description of this issue because you should read the whole thing. Because it is actually a very cool murder mystery, kind of in deep space sort of thing. The murder happened on a freighter a good ways away from Earth, and so the Earth folks sent this detective to go investigate it, expecting him to just sign off on it and say, yeah, whatever. It was cut and dry, very simple. Turns out it was not simple. It also turns out that the prime suspect is his ex-wife, the cop's ex-wife. So,
Woo-hoo.
Yeah, it's lots of fun drama, lots of other cool weirdness. It is definitely something that should be checked out. And this is the end of it, so now's your chance.
Yep. Go get it.
Yeah, if you can track down the issues.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, Les.
I am going to open with a title from DC Comics. I'm going to follow Mike's suit here. This is Ever After from the pages of Fables number 12. This is the final story. And it's been a good read. It's not your typical Fables story because you have a character that has been turned into a fable. And the question is he going to be the same after becoming a fable? So obviously you had Fable, you had Fairest, you had what was it, Jack of Hearts, and this is the fourth title finishing up now. So the question is, are they going to bring something else forward to continue the Fables idea, which I thought was really phenomenal to start. The Fable characters living among the humans. So if you get a chance, this is another one. Find the back issues and sit down for a good read.
Cool.
Yep, very cool.
Alrighty, it is my turn again, and I'm staying with DC Comics since Les took us there. And it is Batman 28, written by Tom King with art by Mikel Janin, and I'm sure I butchered that, I'm sorry. This is part 4 of the War of Jokes and Riddles. This is a kind of a flashback tale of obviously the Riddler and Joker battling each other for the opportunity to kill Batman, and it's turning into a gang war. Villains are choosing sides to battle, and it's been really interesting so far. I picked up the first chapter just on a lark, and thought it was kind of interesting, especially how King has been handling the Riddler and Joker. And so we'll see where things go from here. It's been a intriguing story.
I'm glad to hear you pick this one up because it is a good story.
Am I remembering this wrong, or weren't you a little skeptical about this at the beginning?
I was.
Okay, I do remember it right. Good.
I was. I wasn't sure how, but it's been pretty good so far.
Cool.
So, Mikey.
All right. I am going to jump back to Dynamite, and I am going with Sheena, number 0. I have to admit I am honestly most interested in this because it is written by Marguerite Bennett. But that said, it will be interesting also to see how I don't know if reboot is the right term, but Dynamite has been doing some interesting things with some of these older characters, some of these properties, and a lot of them they have been doing. It's been interesting. They've been doing some cool stuff, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with Sheena. I mean, obviously she's ruling her jungle, and something weird is going to happen, but they tend to go off in fun directions, and they've made some interesting choices. Dynamite has with these books, and so and honestly, it's an issue 0. It's a quarter. Go get it. You know, what's it gonna hurt?
Yep.
Check it out.
First one's not free, but it's 25 cents, so it's practically free.
Pretty damn close, right?
And it's got multiple covers, which are just tremendous.
Oh yeah, there's some really cool ones.
I'm really impressed with the lineup they got for those.
Yep. Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. My next is Elsewhere from Image. Jay Ferber and Semye Kesgan are working on this one, and since seeing this in Previews magazine, I've been waiting for this. This is dealing with the disappearance of,
Amelia Earhart.
Thank you. Well, why did this not come to mind? But anywho, they are taking it to the idea that she was transported to a new world, and you've got alien civilizations, flying animals, beasts, whatever you want to say, and she's just trying to find a way home. So it's kind of like, it sounds kind of like John Carter, but with a character that is known. I want to read this because it's got such potential. It can go so many different directions. And because of that, I want to see how they handle it. Thomas, I don't recall if this was a limited series or if it was ongoing. But I'm sorry?
I was about to say I hadn't seen anything one way or the other.
I'm just looking forward to this. I want to see what they do and how it's presented. Because the disappearance, and of course recently we had the photograph that was saying that she was alive and was with everything from natives to captive by the Japanese army. So
yeah,
this is obviously fiction, but we'll see which way it leans, see what happens to it.
Yep, Amelia Earhart has been kind of a hot property lately, so. And it sounds like an interesting story to me too, so. Cool.
Yeah, it should be fun. I'm excited about this one as well. I believe we all have honorable mentions.
I have one.
Okay. I actually have two. So for my first one, I'm going back to DC again. It's New Gods special, with written and illustrated by Shane Davis and Walter Simonson.
Oh, cool.
This is the first of a handful of books. They're one shots that are coming out for the month of August to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the birth of Jack Kirby. And obviously, this story features the New Gods, in particular, Ryan and Light Ray. But they've also reprint some backup tales from Forever People issues 4 and 7, which those were written by written and illustrated by Jack Kirby back in the day. Cool. So, yeah, this is. I'm excited about these. I know Les and I have talked about these off and on for quite a while, and it's ever since they were first introduced. So I definitely want to check these out.
As do I. I want all of them. I want to read all the tributes to Kirby that they are doing. I think that's spectacular.
Yep. I agree.
Very cool.
Yeah. Mikey.
My honorable mention is an IDW book, and it is Star Trek Waypoint. This is the 6th and final issue of Waypoint, and Waypoint, if you have not been paying attention, they're doing it. They're basically, it's split into two. It's a longer book, and they've got it split into two stories from varying periods of Star Trek lore. And I have to say, these have been really good consistently all the way through. I mean, there honestly has not been a story that I have not liked of all of these, and so it's definitely worth checking out. And I would hope that they would do some more like this in the future.
Yeah, I've been pleased of this series, how well the stories have been and how faithful they've been to the source material. Mm-hmm. So it's been really cool. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I'm sad to see this end, but yeah, I could see them doing a sequel.
Yep.
Alrighty. Les, do you have one? Do you have an honorable mention?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Also from IDW is a hardbound called Cinegeek. And this is kind of up my alley. It's a book about, it's an encyclopedia of random tidbits. Can you imagine a ranking of giant movie monsters by size?
Yeah, that sounds like something right down your alley.
What about best romantic comedies without Hugh Grant?
No,
This
that's
is
funny.
this is what's going to come out, and it's just subjective listings. So I think that this would be fun to sit down and just read and laugh over.
Oh yeah.
And it's very reasonably priced. I don't know the page count, but I got a feeling it's going to be worth the time and money.
Very cool.
Cool. Sounds like fun.
Yep. My other honorable mention, and there's a special reason why I picked this. It's from Disney Lucasfilm Press. It's called Star Wars: The Rise of a Hero. And yes, this is essentially a retelling of A New Hope. But the thing that got me excited about this book is it is written by Louise Simonson with art by Walter Simonson.
Nice.
And Tom Palmer's involved as well. I think this is the first time they've done something they've collaborated in forever. So this is such a cool. I'm so excited about this because yeah, when they work together, it's magic, and they don't work together that often. So I'm excited, definitely excited about this book.
Yep, sounds neat.
I can understand your thrill too.
Alrighty, great choices all around.
Yeah, you always say that.
Well, and I mean it too.
I think you're biased.
Alrighty, any kind of special mentions this week?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head.
I don't know of anything myself.
I think we would be remiss if we don't acknowledge the passing of Flo Steinberg, Fabulous Flo, who was part of the early days of Marvel. She was Stan Lee's assistant. She handled the fan mail. She handled the fan club, and she eventually went on and started her own indie comic publishing. I'm trying to remember the name of it right now. I'm blanking so badly right now. At Big Apple Comics. It's what considered one of the first American indie comics. She passed away just this past week, and some say that she's the queen of Marvel. I would not dispute that because she was there. She was there at the early days with Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, Steve Ditko, all of them. So
Wrangling those bozos.
And seeing the comments from creators past and present, obviously a wonderful human being, and so obviously our thoughts go to her family and friends and loved ones, and Godspeed.
Yep.
Alrighty. Let's go to our regular shout outs then. First off, I want to thank Manny the Martyr for the awesome music for our podcast. We appreciate them for the lending of the music. you go to our website, www.thefellowshipofthegeeks.net, click on our podcast page. You will see their logo. You can click on that. That'll take you to their site, and you can check out some of their other music. We'll also have a link on our show notes, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you guys for that. Also want to thank the fine men and women podcasters of Potter and Family on Twitter for spreading the word, retweeting our links for our podcast. It's very much appreciated. Any kind of podcast that you can think of that you're looking for, all you got to do is go to Twitter. You don't necessarily have to have an account. Do a search, hashtag Potter and Family, one word, and you will find it amongst all those different shows. Some really cool and great people, and we appreciate their support. Obviously, we come to you, dear listener. Thank you for downloading this episode and listening. Thank you for downloading and listening to our other episodes. It's very much appreciated. We value your feedback, comments, questions, suggestions, anything you can think of that you want to send our way. Please do. There are several ways you can contact us. Obviously, email at thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. You can also go to our website. Once again, that's www.thefellowshipofthegeeks.net, and click on our About Us tab, and there's a form there that you can fill out, and we will get that. You can contact us and follow us and contact us on social media. We are on Facebook, The Fellowship of the Geeks. Feel free to like us there and send us any kind of comments you would like. Obviously, we are on Twitter at Fellowship Geeks. Feel free to follow us there and shout out if you so desire. Mikey has his own Twitter account at Mikey Geek. I have one as well at TomTCGeek. Feel free to follow us there. And wherever you download or listen to our episodes, whether it's through iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, or YouTube, if you could take a couple of seconds, rate us, whether it's the star system, thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever, it would be much appreciated. And if you have an extra couple of minutes, a review would be awesome. Just a reminder, we are looking for questions for a future Q&A episode. Mikey brought one to my attention, so that may be one of the ones that we'll use. But we're always looking for questions, so if there's a question you want us to answer on a future podcast, please send it our way through the various means I just went through, and we may choose it and use it on the show, and obviously give you a shout out for sending it that way. Any final thoughts before we wrap it up this week?
No, just thanks everybody.
Same here. Thank you for listening.
Thank you everyone for listening. It's very much appreciated. We love you guys. Y'all take care. And until next time, read more comics and support your local stores. We thank you for listening to the show. Comments, suggestions, and questions can be sent to email at thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. You can follow us on Facebook at The Fellowship of the Geeks and on Twitter at Fellowship Geeks. Until next time,